I said, hey, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. I said, hey, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. We're gonna drink a fine whiskey and smoke a really fine cigar.
All righty, it is time for Happy Hour. It is the Man Cave Happy Hour. Whiskey, cigars, spirits, the stories that go along with it. I'm Jamie Flanagan.
I'm Augie Gitschlag.
We are in the palatial Man Cave suite of the Podcast Your Voice studio, and we have magical bottles. I'm a genie in a bottle.
That's
I
yummy.
just
I'll rub it.
So yeah, we're gonna give this. It's a spoiler. Willett. We're gonna play around a little bit with some Willett coming up, but that's on the horizon. We're gonna do just a taste of that. Have you ever had this Willett, the pot still?
No, I
Okay.
have not had that.
So that's kind of the thing. So we do just a taste. So we like to crack something we've never tried and give it a whirl. Which is we're going to get into Willett, and because you've been there.
Yes, I actually have.
And so you're going to give us a little background on Willett, and then tell us about your personal experience having traveled there. But the Man Cave, it's like we know nothing about nothing. That's my premise on it.
No, I'm an amateur at this. I have to read about what I'm actually smelling and tasting before I smell it and taste it
right.
sometimes.
And yeah, just throw yourself into that power of suggestion.
Right.
But I found I'm like so susceptible to suggestions. I had come across a quiz online. What is your bourbon knowledge?
Okay.
And I went through it and I just trashed the thing. So
I'm going to shoot for 50%. I know a bit. I've been through a few of these podcasts with some great whiskey people who have given me some knowledge.
Right.
And, hopefully I've retained some of that at some point. I have a lot of other stuff I got to retain. But
just a scotch, hopefully. And now I can't find the bloody thing. Best rehearsal ever.
All right. So that
We'll
takes
get
out the
back
first
to-
10 minutes of the podcast.
Yeah.
A shot. Well, I haven't
Anybody
seen you in a
join
while,
us?
Jamie. What have you been up to?
Work, school. It's
Yeah.
October is the new June. So Matt, Foxy, Loxy, and I, we both DJ weddings and parties and stuff. And October is like the new June. It's crazy.
Everybody wants that
town.
fall wedding, huh?
Yeah, it's and so it's October is it's like I've had every Friday and Saturday all booked except one Friday in October.
Side hustle city.
Yep, two in the 2 weekends prior in September were booked like that, and then I have the coming up in November, the first 2 Saturdays in November. So it's just
I
like
tell you, I have no problem with fall and September weddings.
Bada
If I'm going to be in
boom.
a suit and a tuxedo, I like that 55-degree weather. A lot better than the 85s of June and July, that's for sure. Had a wedding over the weekend. It was perfectly comfortable.
Yes.
Yeah, we were at a wedding.
So yeah, we were. Well, so was I.
Yeah,
again.
Yeah, again.
All right. Well, poop. I just maybe one day I'll find that.
All right.
But one of the bottles, it was interesting. The question was, and it got me thinking about bottles and made me, because I had this on the shelf and I haven't tried it yet. The Willett Special Reserve here was the question in the trivia, which was going to lead to the bottle, which was what, and it pulls together all kinds of super nerdy stuff. It's it was in Star Trek. And they were serving some sort of,
Whatever.
crazy planet name spirit.
Some Borg cocktail or something.
Yeah, in the original series.
Oh, okay.
Just Shatner, Nimoy series. But what was the bottle that they used, right? So they pulled the label off and redid it. And what was it? And it turned out, I was guessing it was a special one from Jim Beam or a Jack Daniels, something, but it turned out to be a Dickel. George Dickel bourbon was used in Star Trek.
I would not answer that correctly on any bourbon quiz.
No?
That sounds a little more pop culture nerdy to me than it is bourbon, but I'm pretty good at that stuff too.
You're kind of, you got a doll collection.
I have a action figure collection, jerk.
But you're into collectibles. You're into collectibles.
I do have,
and
a
you have some
rather
amazing
large Han Solo collectible collection.
Is it all? Is
It's
this
specifically Han Solo?
It's a Han and that precise.
Yes.
Did you cry when he died?
I I felt it. My stomach dropped a little bit. I kind of knew it was coming.
Yeah,
the spoilers were out there.
Yeah,
But
so it's a Han collection.
It's a Han Solo.
All right,
collection,
I knew it was sci-fi, and it's
includes
Star Wars.
Includes prototypes that weren't made.
Really?
Half painted pieces that came out of the Kenner factories in Ohio. I got some stuff. I have a set of unopened 1981 underoos with their Sears 298 clearance tag on them still. Unopened Han Solo underoos that are pretty great.
Waiting to break those out for a special occasion.
Yes.
Hey, baby.
That's right. Check out my children's size medium.
Squeeze yourself into
Nope.
those.
Couldn't fit my head into them.
But your celebrity is growing more. So you're getting a big head. Your celebrity is growing more and more. You were published in the paper.
I had a big week.
It was you're hanging out with the governor.
Yeah, on Monday. Yes.
And then was that like a bunch of clerks, or was it?
No, it was
you and her having a little coffee at Starbucks.
I was
and
invited
a little
to
midnight rendezvous.
I was invited to a meet and greet.
Oh, okay.
And so I went. And there's a couple other people there I knew. It was kind of it was a nice room in West Bloomfield Township.
Okay.
And I went and got my 5 minutes. I've never met her before, which is as much work as I've done in politics over the years.
Sure.
And clerking, and the city clerk of Clawson is the real job, everyone.
Right.
I'd never just crossed paths with her, and so I got a chance to talk about elections and LGBTQ plus protection stuff. That was our conversation for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So
was it like speed dating? You got to sit there for 5 minutes and then you
basically
had to leave?
Yeah, you just kind of know you only talk for so long.
Okay.
And there's a couple other people that want to get their 2 cents in, and you don't want to hog the gov. So. Just
Well, I mean, it was like you moved into a chair and then moved out of a chair?
No, it was just work in a room. It was work in a room.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's well. Do you do that with like media? You'll do interviews, and it'll be like if it's a bigger celebrity, they'll do like a round table interview. So I got to sit with Jackie Chan and 15 other people.
Yes,
I got to sit with Jerry Seinfeld and about 15 other people.
Yes.
Which was cool.
I had dinner with Al Gore once and about 300 other people, but I was sitting 3 chairs down from him, so I count that.
Oh yeah, heck yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, but people listen to the podcast whenever, wherever, however. But we're heading into election season, and so your conversation with the governor had to do with elections, because that's a big concern with people. It's like, oh, the election's all rigged. I mean, why do you even show up to work? Because they're all rigged, right? So you don't even have to go.
Yeah, it's funny when one side loses, they say it's rigged, and the other side loses. It started in 2016, Jamie, when people couldn't believe that Donald Trump could win, and so they started filing lawsuits. And
I'm going back to the dangling chads, man.
Yes, well, that goes. Yeah,
it's were there shenanigans before? I'm sure there was shenanigans before the dangling chads. Do you remember the dangling chads? You were a wee lad.
I was old enough
when the chads were dangling.
I voted, and I voted.
Oh, did you?
I was working for a congressman at the time out of college. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was watched that on CNN.
All right,
as it happened.
Yeah, the dangling chads.
My first election I ever ran in Hamtramck. Everyone who lost blamed me. And no one's ever lost an election in the city of Hamtramck. It's always been my fault.
Well, yeah, of course. So talking to the governor, and then again trying to spread the news about this is what we do. Let's clear up some misconceptions, and so you put.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't need to know that. She was more concerned on what is it like right now as a clerk.
Yeah.
Like, what's
I'm talking about the op-ed that you wrote.
We haven't mentioned that yet.
That was so you were published.
I was published on Tuesday.
Have you been published in a paper before?
Yes.
Okay.
But nothing like an article by me with my picture next to it. Nothing like that before.
Yeah.
Here op-eds
That's
here and
cool
there.
as
Just
hell,
little,
isn't it?
It's kind of neat,
Yeah.
And I didn't have a recent headshot, so I sent him a picture from 2010.
Yeah.
I took
You
out
look
the
young
Mitch
and-
album,
you look
Dear
young
Abby
and
book.
skinny there, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a good picture, and everyone made fun of me for it. But when I shared it, I said, "Check out the 2010 picture." I just owned it.
Yep.
Didn't try to fake
it. Yep.
Yeah, but it was a good piece. I didn't use any technical security garbage. It's all about the people that work the elections, and be nice to them. They're not part of your massive conspiracy theory. They're just the little old ladies next to you in church and at the salon. It's the guy that lends you a weed whacker, works the elections for you, and they're good people. And they're not part of any conspiracy. Just be cool. So that was the whole point. And I ran it by a couple people, and they said, you should send us the paper. Ran it by a friend who worked for the paper who said, I'll run it tomorrow if you let me.
Wow.
And I let him. So that hit on Tuesday morning, and no death threats in my Twitter yet. So I guess some 673 comments have been printed.
It's interesting. Some of the comments are interesting. I like when the celebrities read the hateful comments to themselves. So did you get any stellar comments?
There's like one about, you only work 4 weeks out of the year, or 4 months, only work a few weeks a year. They're, slappy, so keep patting yourself on the back. One about, what was the one we read earlier? It said something about, my delusions of grandeur, because all I do is rubber stamp things and file them. That's basically what I do.
Yeah. So, but congratulations on those, on the op-ed, trying to clear up the misconceptions.
Well, trying.
Yeah.
That's all I can do. I took a stand. I'll take a couple shots for it. I'll be all right.
If you can make people angry, because I had a Free Press article column for a little while for the pet show, Animal Talk.
Oh, right.
So I had the dog trainer and the vet with me. We had our picture in there, the three of us.
Cool.
It was nice. Dr. Trish Madsen Bigwood. She was on that Discovery Planet program, the Animal Cops, the one they did in Detroit.
I remember that.
So she worked at the Humane Society quite a bit. She volunteered and worked down at Humane Society.
If you're bringing this back to hate mail on a pet column, then that is as wrong as it gets. The devil really does live in the comment section.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was about, puppies and where to get puppies from. And I didn't say pet stores are evil and you should never, ever purchase from a pet store. And, it was just a side comment about getting a new puppy. And it's wherever you got your puppy. And it's like, so yeah, it was I got the adopt, don't shop, folks riled up. But yeah.
It's always someone to get mad, no matter what good you do.
But it was really cool to have the picture in there.
No good deed goes unpunished, right?
No, exactly. But yeah, so like I said, interesting bottle. The quiz had that thing about the George Dickel bottle being used in Star Trek. And I was like, I have an interesting bottle at home that we haven't tried yet. And I wasn't sure if you did or not. I know Matt hasn't. I hadn't. And it's the Willett. And looking at the bottle, if people are like listening to the podcast, it's the Willett Special Reserve, and the bottle is has a very large. It's probably 8 to 10 inches in diameter at the bottom of the bottle, and it's only about 2 inches tall, and then it's a very skinny neck, and so it reminded me, and I thought maybe it was like some sort of throwback to like something nautical. Right, because you'll see decanters like this that have a nautical purpose, so they don't tip over on your ship. I was totally wrong.
Makes
with
mathematical sense to me.
With the shape of the bottle and what it's like. It was like after I read half of a paragraph, I was like, well, you're one of the biggest idiots on the planet, James.
Well, glad that article could make you come to that conclusion.
So, but yeah, it's the shape of a pot still. That this is
there you go.
The actual, and it's their actual original pot still, miniaturized but to the exact specifications.
I've only actually messed with a column still,
pot still,
in a garage once,
and those are the two things. So you have pot stills and column stills, and so this is the shape, but it's got the the bend that goes off.
Right, the bend.
Yeah. So there you go. But Willett, we're talking about Willett, and I picked this up driving home from Florida, right? Going through the mid states there, and stopped in Kentucky. I'm like, honey, do you mind if I pull over? She's like, why? Do you have to go to the restroom? I'm like, no, I want to go to the bourbon store.
Right. Yeah, those liquor barns off the freeway are worthwhile.
And she's like, oh, my God, I'm going to murder you. And I'm like, I just want to see if they have anything special. And they did. They had, and it wasn't one of the big old, because those things are like Targets. They're ginormous.
Of just booze.
Oh, they're wonderful.
Yeah.
But it was just because reading all those bourbon columns and the bourbon Facebook pages and things. It always recommends going to like the small places. So it was like, oh, let's pull off here because it looks like there's a bunch of crap. And so we just went to a small party store, convenience store or whatever. They don't go in Michigan.
They call them different things in different states.
Yeah.
Bodegas. Yes.
Yeah. So we went to the small shop, and they had the Willett there, and it was just reasonably priced. And so I said, hey, you look pretty. You should come home with me.
Yeah, there you go.
And so that's where how he came to mind. Willett is not widely available in Michigan. It's not. It's not for sale in Michigan.
I can tell you that
Generally
when we were going to Tennessee to a good friend of mine. You met Conrad. Conrad's brother-in-law was coaching at Alabama at the time, and the special teams coach. He now coaches for the Miami Dolphins. But we went down to see Alabama, Tennessee, and we stopped in Kentucky. And they're like, the guys I was with were much more bourbon nerds than I am. And they said, we're going to Willett. And I'm like, why are we going to Willett? They're like, because it's like off the trail and it hasn't really joined the whole thing, and they have stuff that you can't get and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, it's about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And we get there, and literally we're just building out their tasting room.
Okay.
And it was a Wednesday, and they were releasing some crazy bottle, and people were paying $200 a bottle for it, and you had to sign a release saying you wouldn't sell it on the secondary market, even
nice.
though you can't really control it once you're out the door, right?
Right.
But they may try to guilt people into that way.
Sure.
And my buddies all bought $400, $500 worth of bourbon, and like you couldn't even get cell service in this part of Kentucky. It was like in no man's land. And I don't even remember what the bottles were. They like release them so randomly, and they only release 200 of them, and then it's done, and then they lock them up, and they release it on another Tuesday, and a month later, it's all random. Yeah. And as soon as I posted, checked in on Facebook, and about a half hour later, we're driving, and my phone starts going ding, 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 ding. Hey, can you get me this? Can you give me this? Can you grab me this? Because it wouldn't upload where I was.
Right.
So when it finally did, and we were already a half hour, 40 minutes away, everyone's asking me like, I'll send you money right now. I'll PayPal you. I'm like, I'm long gone, man.
Who knew?
So, but we did a couple tastings because we still had to drive to Tennessee.
Yeah.
We're driving to Nashville.
Yeah.
And it was, the place was so new. It smelled like drywall mud still. I mean, it was just all under construction still. Their whole tasting room, and there was no busloads of people, just people in cars. Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah. So, what do you know about the history of Willett? You got a little something there on the history of Willett?
Only because we started looking it up, because like what's going on with this new place, and then you told me we were drinking Willett. I'm like, I'm going to look back up at that place. So, it's one of those distilleries that kind of fell victim in the '80s. Like the others did, like a lot of the big ones. Yes. The original family had it since the 1800s. Old Bardstown was their jam, right? And I had a couple bottles of that I brought back from Tennessee. Bardstown, Kentucky is where Willett's at. They claim the whiskey Old Bardstown Bourbon. I'm sorry, Old Bardstown Bourbon wasn't named after the town though. It's named after the racehorse, and I remember there being a horse on the bottles.
Okay,
I actually looked it up. I'm like, there was a horse in that bottle. That makes sense to me. But the family, there's some family names though. Like the best part of these names, Aloysius Lambert Thompson Willett. That's the one that took them into the 50s and put Old Bardstown on the map. And
right on.
Then they kind of just shut down in the 80s because when all the clear spirits and it was the cocktail revolution happened, and bourbon wasn't on the map anymore. And then. I hope I pronounced it right. The Kulsavine family bought it in 1984, and they kind of just bottled for a while and let the rest of the stock that was sitting there kind of age. And
they kind of
worked out for them because they bought the stock that was aging, and then they fired all that back up. Now, for 25 years, they've been selling booze that goes for $4,000 a bottle if you can get a hold of it. Some of it on the secondary, So. But it's been around. Like I said, these guys have been the family had been distilling since the middle 1800s.
Wow! And I think they launched there 3 years after Prohibition, and they laid the first barrel to rest March 17th.
Well, there was so much money flying around Kentucky after Prohibition. I mean, it was like the only place you could get jobs was like humping barrels in distilleries. They were still working.
Yeah. I thought I found that quiz, and I didn't.
Thought you found your quiz, but
I didn't find the right quiz.
I didn't talk long enough for you to find the quiz.
No, I was really trying. What was the other thing? This iteration, the Willett Pot Still Special Reserve, 2008 is when they started doing this. I thought it would be older.
Well, we haven't seen it, so we didn't.
So-
we didn't have access to that stuff in
Right.
2008. So
But it's new to us, and Willett, generally speaking, isn't available in Michigan. So
No.
it's what they call a craft distiller, and I'm like, oh, and I always envision a craft distiller something like really small, kind of like Motor City Gas here in the city, over in Royal Oak.
Traverse
those
City
guys,
whiskey.
Well, they're pretty big.
they're not this big.
Yeah. So, but they are considered a craft distiller, and I'm like, well, how are they considered a craft distiller? But the definition,
Yeah, there's got to be a definition.
my definition
of a number of barrels
bombastic jazz style.
produced.
Where'd that little definition of a craft distiller go to? So it's more just about the quality of it all, and it's
Isn't there an Alexa around here you can yell at?
Yep, a
Ask?
distillery who values the importance of transparency in distilling and remains forthcoming regarding their use of ingredients, their distilling location and process, bottling location and process, and aging process.
So that's not a legal definition. That's just some made-up
This
stuff.
is the American Craft Spirit Association.
Okay.
It's,
So it's
these are
pretty
our,
subjective.
our rules for us. But I mean, not everybody is forthcoming about where it is distilled and where.
No, that's true.
And
There's
where
a lot
it,
of
where it is aged.
like Bibb and Tucker. People don't know who makes that stuff.
Yeah.
They don't know where it's being made. They know where it's bottled, but where's the
Yeah,
They don't
that's
release
good stuff, though.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all.
Oh,
That's one of the ones I brought back from that trip to Kentucky and Tennessee.
yeah. I
That I
had
bring back
one
here.
of those, and I'm like, I think I might do another. But there's always so many more bourbons to try.
I know.
That's the problem with that. There's always just one more bourbon to try. Speaking of which, we should probably try this thing.
I have no problem doing that.
I got a couple Glencairns here. We can crack this bad lad open.
Courtesy
Now-
of our boys at Old Forester last time I was here.
Yeah. So these the pot still and the column still, right? So there's a difference. The column stills are usually used for more of a larger production, bigger runs. You can do more. And the pot still, generally speaking, is a less effective, a less efficient distilling method.
And I was in a garage in Oakland County, and that's all I'll tell you about the location. And I did not see it as very efficient. I thought it was rather interesting. Taking a bunch of old wine and meads and beer that people tried to make that didn't really ferment right, and just dump it in and start distilling it. And start distilling it, into pure grain, just pure alcohol.
Nice.
Pure booze. And I learned all about the heads. The first stuff to come out of there is just
It will kill you.
it'll kill you, and even the gas will catch fire and blow up.
Yeah.
And then there's the hearts right in the middle, and then the tails will get kind of like funky tasting. But you get that once they stop smelling acetone is when you can try it. Learned a whole lot that Sunday afternoon, in that undisclosed location.
So So, but column distilling, you'll get they tend to be on nose thinner, and in the taste more of a citrus, but your pot stills are richer, and they're deeper.
I'm sure there's some ingredients involved in that change it. You should have told me to shut up.
That's the genie in the bottle there. All right, pour away, and it's a crazy little bottle to pour from. But it's shaped like a pot still. That's why
some serious glug glug sounds. You can, can catch those in the microphone.
It is. It's the
that is the actual air sounds, and you're pouring into that. That's nice.
All righty. So just sniffing that. Like I said, I just cracked this bottle. It's been sitting on the shelf. When did I pick this up? I've had this for probably closing in on a year. And I haven't cracked it.
It's definitely very sweet smelling.
I waited for you.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, sure.
I was waiting for a special. I was waiting for a special show to do it.
Special show.
And
the op-ed
week.
Yes,
the op-ed
the week that I get published. Thank you.
It's bourbon-y, right?
Yes, I smell right away. I smell honey. I just think honey. Maybe I've been drinking too many meads lately.
Oh, okay.
But I got a honey.
I don't know if I got a flower in there or not. I'm trying to say, is there something in there? I don't want to just go, it's honey, because you did
it's like
a
little honey and bark,
Yeah. I'm trying to think what I get here. And then I usually end up sniffing my microphone once or twice.
Right. Yeah.
Why does it smell like beef and cheese?
What I don't
wait,
get,
that's my microphone.
Yeah, it's the Slim Jim I had earlier. I don't smell charcoal or peat, which is the stuff that's what I run away from.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't like the scotches.
Oh.
The scotchier, the worser.
Yeah?
That's for me. Yeah.
Okay. Ooh. So, yeah, it's that's nice. All right. Down the hatch. Here we go. Mm-mm-mm.
All right, full disclosure, I had no idea the proof on this.
Uh-huh.
It does not taste like 94 proof, but it is.
Yeah.
Now I can get a little bit in the nose, as far as like I just drank something of high alcohol content.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to spit again.
So, yeah, and then I'm getting some vanilla in here for sure. It's something in
it's light.
A flower.
It's a lighter viscosity, I feel.
I'm flour. I'm a
Yeah.
flower.
The color seems to be lighter. What else am I tasting? Yeah, you get the vanillas and the malts, the caramel, and
Okay.
you can say honey is where the sweetness comes. I think it smells more.
Maybe it's like a honey flower. That's not a thing, but
Yeah.
the sweet nectar. I guess it's that.
I mean,
honey
it's got that the like a good expensive whiskey always has like almost a vanilla-y, caramely thing going on at the end.
I don't even know. Like I said, I bought this thing like a year ago. I don't even know. I forget what I paid for it. I lived. So Colleen let me in the car. Do you know what the? Do you know what the mash bill is on that? No, it just says 51% corn. It's just a bourbon, so it's got to be.
Those are different notes. Those are from my bourbon quiz. I was studying.
Oh, were you? Oh my God!
I was going to be ready for it.
Oh yeah, no. It was things like Star Trek. You know what bottles in Star Trek, and
I was just trying to go through the things I knew, and I wrote it down.
Oh, right on. Oh, I would have smoked you on the quiz. Talking about the quiz.
Well, that's a shame. We'll save that for another day. You got some ice over there?
I do. Yeah. If we want to try to throw this on ice, there's 2 rocks glasses over there, and I made some ice. Yeah, I want you to take a look at the ice. Tell me what you think. I made ice, which is it's just me in a freezer. I was really successful. There's the 2 rock glasses just sitting there. The 2 big dogs are there. But
all right. Well, this is some impressive ice you made here.
I did some big cubes, and they're very, very clear.
I'm afraid
what I did is
touch them.
So what I took was you could
distilled
get your
water?
hands all nope. That's just out of the tap. What you do is, because I've been trying to make clear ice, and there's different theories on it. It's like, you got to get the bubbles out, use distilled, let it sit before you put it in the freezer, and all these things. And because this is like very, very clear. If someone's watching on
it's like beautiful piece of iceberg ice.
Very, very clear. I took a little cooler, like a lunchbox size cooler, just a shoebox size, lunchbox size cooler, and filled it 80% up with water, took the lid off, and put it in the freezer like that, and let it sit for 24 hours. It only freezes about halfway, or even a quarter of the way, in about 20 hours. And then, you get it, shake it out of the cooler there, and you get a bread knife and a hammer, and serrate it and chop it and pop it into things.
I just go to 7-Eleven and grab the bag of U.S. Ice, and it's delicious.
Yes.
But I'm really impressed with what you put into this. And I noticed right away things I haven't noticed before until that last whiskey tasting is the oils and how everything starts moving.
Oh, yeah. Isn't
Once
that
you put
great?
the water. Yeah, it's kind of fascinating.
You can see it. Yeah, you can see them really doing that oil and water dance down there in the bottom of the glass.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when you add a little ice, which adds a little water into the mix?
That's dangerously easy to drink.
It's sweeter. More sweetness opens up for me.
It's like the word zest pops into my mind, and I don't know why. Even though I don't really get citrusy, but I
got a sugar like a not brown sugar, but that raw sugar.
Okay.
Not like your white granule, but like that brown in the raw sugar.
We did say in the beginning we had no idea what we were talking about, so hopefully that's still you don't judge us too harsh on this.
So yeah, no, that's the sugar I'm getting, not the white granular, but that raw sugar, not quite brown. Brown sugar's second cousin.
What's the price point on this bottle?
I don't know. I was gonna look that up, and then I got jangled keys and.
That's sidetracked by your bourbon quiz you're still trying to find?
Yeah, I know. It's just I'm so mad.
This is a $50 bottle, but
special reserve pot still. Okay.
yeah, $60.
Price on that. Yeah, 85 at Total Wine.
No, okay.
So, and I usually go to. Oh, that's total. Yeah, so that's the secondary price because you can get that in Ann Arbor. So that's a secondary price. So yeah, so 60. I would. Yeah, I probably paid. I'm usually good for about $60-$70.
Yeah, that's the top of my range
on a bottle.
Yeah, I mean I'll drink anybody else's expensive whiskey. For me to pick up a bottle, that's.
Yeah.
I don't taste a whole lot of difference between a $120, $200 bottle of booze and a good $50 bottle of booze. It doesn't change my world to, I'll try them.
Yeah.
But I'm not investing.
What about wine? Do you do wines? Are you a wine guy at all?
I make wine.
Yes.
It's my hobby.
Okay.
So I make wine as a hobby.
I've had some of your wine.
I do
we
not.
enjoyed it. We enjoyed it immensely.
Thank you. I have a whole bunch coming for the holidays. So get ready. We'll have plenty of reds. I have a Christmas red, a Christmas white, cherry Merlot, a blackberry Pinot. I got some stuff coming. So coming your way.
Love it. We can do a show and try one or two of them.
Okay, sure.
You can tell me your process, and do you buy?
We'll get to that. It's a whole other podcast.
Are you jumping around in the tub? You and Lucy smashing the grapes.
Done it a little of everything.
Mercy.
Yeah. Now for $60, I could keep this on my shelf. First of all, it looks good.
Yeah,
it's a conversation piece.
Yes.
And it's tasty.
Mm-hmm.
I got a much more expensive bottle of this that was 101 proof.
Right.
The Booker's that was gifted to me. And I had a bottle of Blanton's that was gifted to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll open up, the bottle of Buffalo Trace most of the time, and that's the one that I look to drink. When people come over, we drink the higher end stuff. But as far as taste goes, I go for an Old Forester all day. Yeah. I'm not just talking about I don't want to drink the expensive stuff because it's not, it doesn't taste that much better to me.
All right.
I don't, a lot of, especially in the bourbon market and the prices that people are paying for bourbon now.
And the secondary stuff, yeah.
It's nuts.
You said the Blantons and Weller, and it's because somebody's like, oh, I can't find Weller. I can find it.
Yeah. You can
Tomorrow,
find it.
I can be back with a bottle of anything. I can be back here in 20 minutes with a bottle of Pappy.
Yeah,
you got $2,000.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's there's a couple because in Birmingham. There's a couple of stores that there's this Buscemi's over on the east side. There's this other place up on Van Dyke, and then there's this place over on Woodward, the big green building with fancy lights, and they have all of those things, but it's 4 times the one right up here at 13 Mile. It's just a crazy price. I'm not paying the quadruple.
No.
I'm way too cheap.
Now I would pick this bottle up for $60 in a hot second, all day.
And that's why. And that's why when I'm on a vacation, I'll and we're driving because you can't put that in your carry-on.
Yeah.
My problem if I tried to carry this on is I'd be cracking it. And, they frown on that.
They do frown on that.
They were the last flight I was on, they were about 5 times. They're and you cannot open any brought on liquor. And I'm like, well, you just made my last run to the party store, my last run to Publix, pretty futile because
you got to bring your own airline-sized bottles.
I did. I bought
clear ones. They should let you on the plane with them. Just can't be seen cracking them.
I know. Yeah. So I was so now I'm after that I'm well now I got to be all on the down low and you can't. I would just like a glass of ice, please.
Yeah, that must be fairly new because I flew down to Austin years ago for a bachelor party. And we were literally handing the airline bottles back and forth to each other on the plane. Also done that on the train from Michigan City, Indiana to Chicago, too.
Oh, my God.
And handing them back to each other.
Oh, my God. So. All right, Augie, congratulations on your very media savvy week.
Yeah, it's been a good week.
So I appreciate that. Oh, and you know what else I appreciate? All the people that hang out and listen to the Man Cave Happy Hour.
Yeah.
On the various
hopefully
platforms.
you missed us a whole lot and you can't wait to listen to more.
That's it. So, but yeah, wherever you're at, like, subscribe, leave a comment. All those things help immensely. I always forget. And then we get deep into it, and
we just start chatting with each other like these microphones aren't even here. You know?
That's it. So, yeah. So, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Truly, genuinely appreciate people hanging out. And Augie, thanks for.
Oh, Jamie, thanks for having me.
Hanging out. This is all right. This is Man Cave, and we'll do it all again very, very soon. And cheers.
Cheers, everyone.